Hey guys, and welcome to this part of this tutorial series. Today I'm going to start working on some of these things. Specifically, I think I'm going to start with the trends thing. I'm also going to do a few other small things that I will do first. So if I go to the app now, I think that on some of the profiles you can see, for example, this error here. I need to fix this. So let me just set up a to-do here. Fix error on profile page, and I know that now I'm on my own profile, but let me try to visit someone else and see if the problem is there as well. So I just refresh now. Yes, the error is here as well. So it's looking like it's on all of the profile pages. So let me try to find out where this error comes from. So it's looking like it's something here. When I try to, it's probably this link, and you can see here that the ID is null, and that is not good because then the missing required parameter ID is missing. So let me try to find the code for this. So let me open up profile view and then search for friends, and then it's the one that we have. Yes, there it is. So it's this router link, and this is missing sometimes. Okay, so maybe I should only render this if there actually is a user. So let me try to if user. Maybe that will solve it. No, the error is still there. Okay, if I scroll down, then you can see that I have set this automatically. But if I set this to be an empty string, maybe that will work. No. So that's not good. Okay, just give me a few seconds and I will try a few things. Okay, it seems that this was the only thing that I needed to do actually. Check if the user ID is set. And if I then refresh, the error is gone. And if I go to myself, there is no error here either. Nice. So that means that I can set this task to done. Next step is that I see that this is still hard coded. So I need to fix that. So first, I can add a new variable to the models for the account for the user. Here we have the friends and we have the friends count, but we can also add posts count, models.integer field, default equals 0. So then I need to update the database, stop the web server, make migrations and migrate. Then I can run it again. So then I can begin by showing this number where we have this. So if I just now search for 120 posts, then I can see that I have this multiple places. So this is the template and this is the template that we started with, so I don't have to think about this, but it's still these files here. So here I can say user.posts count, and the same here, user.posts count. One more time, user.posts count, and save. So then there is actually no difference there. Let me go to the profile view and update it here as well. User.posts count, and in the search user.posts count. So now this doesn't say anything because we need to add this to the serializer as well for the account. So here we already had a friends count, but let's add posts count as well. So if I now go back and refresh, it at least says 0 posts. But I know that I have one post. So what I can do then is to go to the shell and manually fix this for the users that we already have. So Python mentioned.py shell from account.models import user, and then users equals user.object.all. So now I have all of the users. So then I can loop through them and say for user in users num posts equal user.posts.count. So now I say user.posts, because if I go into the models.py in the post app, you can see that a post here is directly connected to a user. So that means that now I know the number of posts the user has. Then I can say user.postsCount equals num posts, and then just user.save. So that should be it. So I can quit here and run the server again. So if I now refresh, this should hopefully say 1. Yes, nice. And if I, for example, search for Stein, go in here, you can see this user has 7 and this user has 2. Perfect. So now that is working as well. I know also one more thing that I need to add here, and that is to edit profile. Make it possible to add avatar. That's also something I need to do. But let's begin with the trends. And the trends is what we see on the right side here. People, you may know, not, it's this one. So for example, posts that contains this hashtag should be able to click this to search for this one, and then I will sort of just be sent there and search for this hashtag. Or maybe I should have a separate page for showing one specific trend. That's probably better. Let's do that instead. So what should we do first? Well, we can begin by at least creating one post. Test post with Stein and Django. So what I want to do then is to make a script that goes through all of the posts in the database and generate this list. So in the Visual Studio Code, if I just close all of these, then in the backend, this folder, I want to create one more called scripts. And then in here, I can say, for example, generate trends.py. So then I need to be able to talk to Django, because I want to be able to run this using cron jobs, and then I need to know how to run Django from outside. Django run script every hour. Yes, we can test this just to see if we get what we want here. This is not how I'm used to do this. Okay, so then in here I just use this for setting the file running as UTF-8. Then I import Django, I import OS, and I import sys. Sys is used to set the directory we are in, which is where the Django manage.py file is. Then we set up the environment and set the Django settings module, set way backend, which is the name of this folder, and settings is just this file here. And then we run Django setup. Below here we can use Django as we are used to do. So here I can say, for example, from post.models import post, and then posts equals post.objects.all, and then I can say print posts, and we can see what this looks like. So if I go to the terminal now, stop the web server, I can say Python scripts and generate trends. Then you see here I get the query set with all of the posts that we have in the database. And then we can set up, for example, an empty list called trends equals, set this to be empty. And then we can loop through the posts for post in posts, and then we need to know how we can find hashtags and the hashtag itself in a post. So Python find hashtag in string. So then we have a function called define extract hashtag. Put it there. Hashtag list, that can go there. And then we loop through each of the words in the text we are putting in here. I will go through that very soon. If one of the words' first letter is hashtag, so if it begins with Stein, this is then word 0, correct. If it is, then we say hashtag list dot append word. Yes, okay, we need to do this, because then we just strip away the hash itself. So then we can here say return hashtag list. So down here we can no, not that one, that should be like it is, but here we can say trends dot append post dot here extract hashtags, pass in post dot body. So what we do here now is that we first get this. We can do that first so we can see what this looks like. Print. So we print this, run it. So here you can see it found Stein and Django. Nice. Which is the two ones I just added. And then below here I can add trends.append, and then we pass this in. And at the bottom here we can say print trends. And then this should not be empty, and this should not be like it is. It should actually just be one list. So here I think we can say hashtags equals, first of all, and then we say if hashtags, then it goes in there, and we say hashtags. So that should get rid of the empty ones, but I still want this to not be an array in an array or a list in a list. So how do I do that? I think actually the best thing is to just pass in trends here. Define this, yeah, it can be defined there, don't mind me. And then we pass in the text and trends. And then instead of defining it here, we can just say trends and return trends. So what happens then is that we are appending it to this list, which you are sending in there. And then you can just take it away like this and this. So let's try to run it again, and now we have only one like that. Perfect. I just want to run the server again so I can add one more post. So go back here now. Second one with Django and something else, Python. So if I now stop this again and run the script we just had, then you can see Django is referenced 2 times, Python 1 and Stein. So now we should be able to count the occurrences of each hashtags here and create lists of that, which we can show here. And this list should be in some sort of a database. But we can begin by checking how we can count an occurrence of a string in the array. Count occurrence as in a list. So how do I count occurrences in a list item? Okay, how often do you find one? But this is a very slow. Okay, perfect. This is something I want. So maybe I need to install this. Let's just try to import it and see what happens. So at the top here, import collection. Okay, there are no errors. So let's try to do the rest here. Counter C. Print counter C, but here we want to say trends instead. So if I now run this, you can see counter, Django 2, Python 1, Stein 1. Nice. So then we want to have the top 10 of this stored in a database. So we can create a new table for this, or a model, and I think this can go in the post models. So here we can add this at the bottom, class trend models.model, and here we should have a title or a hashtag, models.char field, max length can be set to 255, and occurrences equals models.integer field. Default, no, we don't need to set the default, it can just be like this. So then we have this, so we can update the database, make migrations and migrate. So let's go back here again and import this model trend. And then let me try to loop through this. So we can say trends counter equals, and then I want to just try to loop through this for trend in trends counter, print trend. Just want to see what I get then. Whoops. This, of course. Okay, perfect. Can I get trend dot count? Was that the correct one? No, built-in method count of string. Print trends counter. Let me just see what that looked like. Okay, so the string itself. Okay, how was I supposed to use this correctly? Okay, here I can actually get the most common ones. So let me try that. Let me just take this away a little bit and say print trends counter dot most common. If I just want 2 of them, then it just gives me Django, and the next one is Python. Nice, but I actually want 10, even though there are not 10, but it will be eventually. And then I still need to know this. Okay, so at the end of here I can just say most common, pass in 10. So now the trends counter should maximum have 10 of them. And then for trend in trends counter, print trends counter, and if I then pass in like this, if I said trend there, that did not work. List analysis must be integer, such slices not a tuple. Print trend, what was this? Okay, so this was a tuple. 0 will give me the name. Okay. And trend 1 will give me the number. Perfect. So then I know how I can add it to the trends list. So trend.objects.create, then the name hashtag equals trend 0, and occurrences equals trend 1. So now down here, just for testing, I can say print trend.objects.all, and this should now have 3 in it. If I do this one more time, we should have 6 I mean. And then we have a little bit problem, because then we have duplicates. So before we do this, I actually want to delete all of the trends we have in the database. So at the top here we can say trend, you can do it all the way at the top here. For trend in trend.objects.all, trend.delete. So then we should only have 3 in the database, but I don't need to print this now. So what happens here now is, first we do some importations, set up the Django environment, import the 2 database models from the post. Then we just loop through all of the trends, which is the ones we should be showing here, and delete them. Then we get all of the posts from the database and set up an empty list of trends. Then we loop through these posts and run this function where we post in the body, which is the text, and the list of trends we have. Up here we just split the body into words and check if the word begins with a hashtag. If it does, we know that we have a hashtag and we can append it to the list of trends. Then down here we loop through the trends counter and get the most common one, the 10 of them. Then we loop through this again, and then we create new trends based on this. If we want to clean up this a little bit, we can take this, move it down there, because we are only using this variable one place, and the same is down here. We can say it like this, so then it's a little bit better. So if we save now, go back here, let's try to run this. Then we can run the server again. So then I want to show these here. So if I then search for trends view.view, we can remove 3 of these, and then we can get these from the database. So here we can say script, then export default name. We don't need a name, but we can set this to trends just so that is done. And then we want to have a data array, return, and here we want to say trends. This should be a list like that. And then we can import Axios, so we have it, import Axios from Axios. And then at the bottom here, we can say methods, section list, get trends, and then Axios.get /API posts trends dot then, because we get something back from the server, response, and then we can say console.log response.data, so we can see what we get. If there are any errors, just say .catch error console.log error : error, so we can see it in the console if there are any. And then to call this, we just say mounted. So when this component is mounted somewhere in our system, we call this .get trends and save. So if I go back now, I will get a 404 error because we have not created the trends API endpoint yet. So we can do that by going to API inside the post app. But before I create the API endpoint, I want to create a serializer. So let's import the trend there. Then we can create the serializer by saying class trend serializer. Pass in the serializer.model serializer. Then here is a class meta for configuration, model equals trend, and the fields we want here is ID, we want the hashtag and occurrences, and save. So just copy this, close the file, and import this serializer. So then we can create the view for this. So that should be very simple. API view, need to use get here, def get trends, request, then we get all of the trends that we created in that file by saying trends equals trend.objects.all. See here, I get a warning because I haven't imported this model trend. So that's imported, error is gone. Then we say serializer equals trend serializer, pass in the trends, and say many equals true. Here we can also do the same thing like we did in another file. We can just put it in like this to simplify this a little bit, and then we can just return it just like we do there. So that's the view, and we can add it to the URLs. Can have this at the bottom, path trends, API.get trends, name, get trends, and save. So hopefully that should work now. Okay, there are no errors, perfect. So let's try to show them now up here. So this can be our loop object. Just move this down a little bit, loop through by saying v4 trend in trends, then v bind key trend.id. Then we show the hashtag here, trend.hashtag, and how many posts are connected to this hashtag, trend.occurrences, save. So if I refresh now, that did not work. For trend in trends, no, because here we forgot to say this.trends equals response.data, response.data. So now we have it here, Django 2, Python 1, Stein 1. Perfect. So now we need to be able to click this to either go to the search or a separate page showing only this. But before that, I just want to do one more thing in this script we created, the generate trends. The problem here is that we actually get all of the posts in the database, but we only want the one created in the previous 24 hours. So let's find out how we can do that. Django query set get all last 24 hours. So there, maybe you can use this. Filter, no. We don't want 1 day, we want actually hours. Okay, that's 12 hours just so that you can see it a little bit different. Okay, so here you can see this. So we need to import time delta from date time. And we need to import Django utils like that. So then we have these two, and then we need to set up this hour, which should be now. This can then go up here together with that variable, and then we set up 1 hour later. But I want this to be minus 24 hours. 24 hours. So that was it for that. Then we just need to pass in this filter here to this. So remove all as a filter, date range. This should be created at range, and then 24 hours. Maybe these should move like that. Let's test and see if this is working. So stop the server, run the script again. That looks okay. Run the server, go back here. Now they are not showing. Okay. So let me just copy this. Copy. It's a print to see what we get here. Stop the server, run this script again. So we get one post. So only one post was created in the previous 24 hours. That is not correct. Let me try to replace this. Then it was empty. Maybe we can just say created at greater than or equals 24 hours ago. Yes, that gives more posts, which looks more correctly. So then I can move this down here again. I can just remove this. Then we can try to run it again. Then I can run the server again. Go back, refresh, and then this is back again. So now this should only keep track of the posts created in the 24 previous hour. And then this script here will need to be set up on the live server, so it's generating once per hour or once per day or similar. We will come back to that. But for now, we need to make it possible to click this and explore. So I think we should have a separate page for this. So new file, trendview.view, and then here we can say template, just close it like that, and script, and then we can copy a lot from the feed view. Actually, you can just copy everything, paste it here. Here we do not need a submit form. We don't want to write anything here. The body can just be emptied away, and then this is like it is, but we want to remove this form. So let me just save this now, and then we can import this to the router. Import trend view from /views/trendview.view. Then we need to add it to the list down here. Can make a copy of this. Here we want to say trends / then an ID of this trend. Trends view, trend view, trend view. Then we need to have a link from the trends component to that page. So this can be replaced with a router link to name trend view, and then set up the params. ID should be trend.id. Forgot to add a colon here to make this JavaScript. Then that looks okay. You can just close the router link there and save and go back. Route path should start with a slash. Okay, forgot to add a slash at the beginning there. Sorry about that. Refresh. And now you can see down here that I should be able to click these to be sent to that page. And when I sent to that page, you can see that this is now loading, which is the regular feed, but we have the people you may know and trends over there. So then in the trend view, I want to load posts from a specific hashtag. So here I think I can say post/trend post/ what should I add here? For example, trend equals, and then I can append the ID we are on. Or should we actually see the hashtag itself? That's probably better, yes. Sorry, let's just go back to not the search view, not the profile view. Let's go to the trends component. So instead of showing the ID here, we can say hashtag save. Let's go back, click Django, then we see trends/Django instead. So we can send this to the backend instead. So in the trend view here, we can say, use the curly braces and $sign, this.route.params.id. Then I need to switch these with backticks and save. So if I refresh now and go here, you can see that we are trying to get posts where the trend is Django. So then I just need to change the view for this a little bit, which is the post list. Below where we get the posts from the database, I can say trend equals request.get trend, default this to be empty, and say if trend, then there is something in the URL. You can say post equals posts.filter, and then we want where the body I contains equals trend. So we will now would get all of the posts where the body contains this word. So refresh, and now we only get these two, Django, Django. Maybe we should also add a hashtag in front in case someone has written only Django and not the hashtag Django. Okay, so now that's working. Let me try Python. Yes, now you can see we have this problem that the URL is changing, but the page is not changing, just like the profile view. So we solved this by watching the router param ID. So just copy this, go back again and find the trend view there, and when this changes, we want to run this again. So refresh, click Python, then we get this, Python, click Stein, then we get Stein. Great. Maybe you should also show the hashtag we are visiting at the top here, just so it's much clearer what we actually are doing. So I can copy this div, and then in here I can say h2 class text xl hashtag, and then we can just print the one word up here by saying route.params.id. That didn't work. Cannot read properties of undefined. Maybe we need to add the $sign there. Yes. Okay. Maybe we should say trend, just so it's a little bit more clearer what you do. So if you go there now, it says Python, there it says Django. Nice. So this seems to be working. Testing again with Django and hello post, and if I refresh now, this still is the same, but if I stop, run the script again, run the server again, refresh, all of a sudden this is 3 posts and hello is also appearing here. Nice. So these scripts then need to be run at a certain amount of time per day, or one per day, or whatever you want, but we will come back to that when we are doing a live deployment of this project. But for now it's working at least. So I can set this task to done. Before I continue, I just want to say thanks to all of my patrons. If you too want to support me, you will find a link in the description below. Okay, so the next step then is to make it possible to edit the profile. Okay, so for this we are going to need one more view. So just create one more file, edit profile.view. So what do I want this to look like? At least when you go here, I want to have an edit button here. So we can begin by just creating that. Just want to say template here and edit profile, just so we can add this to the router and test that the view is working. So import edit profile view. Oops, forgot to add the name view at the end there. That's optional to have, but it makes it more clear to the user that this is a view and not a component and similar. So then we can add it together with this one at the top here, profile edit view. Okay, so then it's imported there. Then we just need a button from the profile page. So profile view. Then next to the log out button, let's make a copy of this and paste it. Fix the indentation. Then we can say edit profile, and I actually want this to be a router link to, I can just say profile/edit, and this should only show if you are the correct user, and then we can close the router link. Let's see if this is okay. Profile edit view is not defined. Okay, what did I call it? Edit profile view, of course. Edit profile. So now we have it there. It should not be red, and we need some space between these. So this can, for example, be this color, purple 600, and then R2. Yes, much better. So if I click this now, you will see the edit profile page here. Nice. So we already have all of the information on the stored in the browser, so we can use this to show in the form and then only send information to the server if you actually do anything with it. So let me just close a little bit of these files so it's easier for you to follow along. Let me open up the sign up view, and we can then make a copy of a few things here. We can import both of these two things down here in the script tag. We can set up the export default like that. We want to have the toast store in case we want to show user information to the user. The data can be like this, almost at least. We don't need the passwords. We want a separate view for this, but we want the email and the name. So then we can copy the methods where we check this, paste it down here, and if there are no errors, we can send the information to the server like that. And close the methods. We don't have this, we can remove this. Something went wrong, please try again. And the information was saved. Then we also need to update the user store in the browser. And this should not say API sign up, but for example say edit profile. So then we are sending in this, and the rest of the information like the ID is already on the server, because you should only be able to do this when you are logged in. So we can save this for now and scroll up. Then we can copy. What do we want to copy here? Yes, let's copy the entire thing and just remove a few things like that. So here we can say edit profile, and we can remove this. Now we can see what this looks like. Okay, a little bit. Okay, let's remove the 2 password files or fields. So now we have this. Here we want to show your name, and here we want to show the email, and change this to save changes. So to fill in this information, I think we here can say okay, we need to import a user store as well. So import use user store from @stores/user const user store equals use user store and return user store. Then here maybe I can just say this.userstore.user.email. Let me try that. Yes, so then it's automatically filled out there. Then we do the same thing with the name. Save. Nice. So then we need to be able to send this to the backend. That is already taken care of here. So we just need to add this API view. So let's find api.py in the account app. Then we can create one more view here. We want this to be a post, so we can copy one of this. Def edit profile request, and then we want to get the user, which is just the request user. User equals request user. And then we can say user.name equals request.data.get name, which is the information we get here, or at least from this one. The only problem by doing this now is that if the email already exists and that is not you, then we cannot save that. But we can save the name anyways. So we can say user.save at the bottom here, and then we can no, let's search first. If user.objects.filter email equals request.data.get email. You can actually store this in a variable to make this a little bit clearer. Email equals this. So if there is a user with this email, then we know that it's already in use by someone else. We just want to exclude ID equals user.id. So we exclude ourselves and check if someone else uses this email address. And then we say .exist at the end there. And then we want to return information about this to the user in the front end. Now we can say email already exists. And if there isn't a user with this information, then we can save the user. User.email equals email. And then we can say information updated. Okay, so that was actually very easy. I don't think here is anything wrong. So let's import this to the URLs in the account app. Path edit profile. Was that the URL? Edit profile in one word like that. So, okay. API.edit profile. Here I use 2 words. I should use the same thing everywhere. Edit profile, name, edit profile. And save. So now this should automatically send back here, and hopefully we get this or this back. So save now, save changes. Something went wrong, please try again. What was wrong? This doesn't say anything. It's just this. Okay, because the message here is not success. If the message is information updated, then this should show. Refresh. Information was saved. Okay, I do not need to reset the form here, of course. So refresh. The information was saved. John Doe changed. Save changes. The information was saved. If I refresh, this still says John Doe. But if I try to log out and log in again, johndoe@gmail.com, then this should get the new information from the server, and then you can say John Doe changed. Nice. And if I go here, John Doe changed. But that means that I need to update information that we have in the browser. So open up user.js. Which one of these can I use? I can set this one. This includes the ID, the name, and the email. So let's send this information there. This.userstore.setUserInfo user. Or I can say it like this, ID, and then I use the ID already. .user.id, name should be this.form.name, which points to the form up here, and email this.form.email. Then I can remove this and remove that. So let's try one more time. John Doe changed, new, save changes, information was saved. If I refresh now, it remains the same here. Perfect. But I can try to change the email as well. Save changes, refresh, that worked. But if I now try cws@gmail.com, which is an email used by someone else, I should hopefully see something went wrong. Nice. And then I could show this information here. For example, change this to backticks. Oops. There. And then I say this dot, no, I say just response dot data dot message. That's not correct. Okay, that's a double backtick. Refresh. Then I try this again with the email I know that is in use. Email already exists. Please try again. Okay, then I just go back to John Doe. Save changes. Refresh, everything is okay. Nice. But when everything is okay, like it is here, I should be redirected back to my profile page. So here I can say this dot router dot push. I can just send myself back. View router, go back. Push, push, push. Replace. Go -1. Okay, let's just use that. But or I can say router dot back. Save. So let me save. And then I was sent back here, and this still pops up. Nice. But if I try to change this, changed, save changes, updated here, and I got this. Nice. So now I can update the information about the user. Next step then is to make it possible to add an avatar to the profile. If I open up the models.py on the account page, you can see that we have this field already. So now I just need to know how I can upload this from Vue to the back end. So for us to help this now, let me open up the forms.py in here. And then I can append avatar here. That makes it much easier for me to save this. But then I need to use a form here instead. So here I can say form equals sign up form. Maybe I should rename this and take it away from there. Create a new one. Call this a model form. Forms.model form. Then we need to import this from Django. From Django import forms. And then we remove these two and say avatar instead, because we don't want password fields here. Okay. And this should also be renamed to, you can just say profile form. Save, close. Then we need to import this like that. And then under here we say form equals profile form and pass in request.data. We also need to set instance equals user so that we pass in the information that we already have on the user. So then I can just close it like that and say if form.isValid, form.save and save. Let's try this again. Edit profile, save changes, nothing, error happens there. Okay. So then I need to send the field to the backend as well. So I can try to save this image so that I have one to test with. Save. And then here I need a select image field. So let's go to the edit profile page. And here I can say avatar. This isn't stored any place, so I can save it like this. And then if I scroll up, I can make a copy of this. Avatar. I think that I need to find a code for this. GitHub Stein Halset. I have already done this in a separate tutorial and I just want to copy a little bit from that. If I find it, file uploader. Nice. So then I just go into that model and the model is set up correctly. Yes, the form is set up correctly. I can open up the view and the template. The view is just very simple. Okay, I need to import, pass in this as well. Oops, almost forgot that. So in api.py I can say request.files as well. Print request.files just to see that we get something from the front end. And then in the template I need to copy a few things here. So the input field for this should look like this. Let me just find edit profile. So I do not want multiple because I only want one avatar, of course. And when we call this, we call a function called select file. I will see if I need this. I don't think so, so let me just remove that. But it's a type file, reference file, and class file input can just be taken away. So the input field is very simple. Input type file, ref file. And then I need to do some more changes down here. So, boom, 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 boom. Perform upload. I need to change this to form data. Just to make it as simple as I can for us. Then avatar is file, but where do I get this file from? That's from this function which calls this one. And then file is this one. Okay, I need to do a few tests here. Let me just copy this. Then I want to comment out this so I can do a few tests. Console.log this.ref.file, which refers to this ref here. Files, I'm not sure if plural is correct to use here. So let me just choose a file, downloads, save changes, file list, 0 file, so it looks like it is there. Nice. And then I can say 0 instead so that I get the first one. Let me test one more time. Yes, now I have the file there. So that means that I should be able to add this into here. Then we have the form data for that. And then I can say form data dot append name this dot form dot name. Copy this for the email as well. This dot form dot email. Then I can say console.log and just say form data to look at this. Refresh, select the image, save, form data. Okay, it doesn't look anything there, but that's not important right now. Let's just focus on sending this to the backend. Change this to form data. So let's try this now. If I save changes. Okay, no errors, no errors, no errors. That's okay. This should now probably not be request data, but request post. Print request.post, save. So refresh, edit profile, just try to save. Okay, this was updated. Refresh, so it's working at least. As you can see here, the multi-value dict is empty, which is the avatar itself. I can just remove this from the form because I don't use it anyway, since I used the ref up here instead of a model. So now we are sending in this, we're sending in this, and we're sending in this. Let me just go back to the template that I had here to see if, yes, as you can see here, I set up the content type in the headers just to let the backend know that there are actually coming other content types than information. Save. Now we can go and refresh. Try to send an image to the server. Save changes. Now you can see here I actually got an image and I got the name and the email. Perfect. So now I have everything that I need. We are putting in the post, we are putting in the files, saving it to this user. So hopefully we actually have an image now. Let me go to the computer and check. So in the way backend folder, I should have an avatars folder where I have the 300 JPEG. I can just go ahead and delete this because I want this to be located in a file called media. So this is actually set up correct, but I need to do some changes in the settings.py. So here I can set the media URL equals media, which is where we are loading the images from, which we can show in the front end. And then I just need to do one more change here, which I always forget, which is the media root. So now everything will be put into the base directory, which is the one where manage.py is. Then you will create a media folder. And in there we get one folder called avatars where the images will be. Let me try one more time. Refresh, edit profile, upload, save changes. Go back here, media, avatars, 300 JPEG. Perfect. So now we have the avatar there. Next step then is to actually load this and show it in the front end. So if I now open up the serializer for the user, then I here can append the avatar, and maybe this will work. Not sure what we get there. So for example, on the profile view, here on the mounted, no, this.user, here we set this.user, console.log, this.user.avatar, save, refresh, then you can see here that we actually get this URL. Nice. But it's less /media, which will not work. We need the address for the backend as well here. But if we here said http ://127.001.8000 plus, then it will load the correct one. But this will give a 404. So we need to do one more thing before we can test this. So if I just open up the urls.py here, and that did not have anything correct there. Let's find a different project. Yes, I need to add this in order to serve media files on the development server. So open up urls.py in the way backend and add this there. So now I just need to import static and settings. So from django.conf import settings, then those two went away, then it's just this one, which comes from django.conf.urls.static import static. So if I go back here now, find the image, refresh, it will now show there, and that means that I can show it and use it here as well. Perfect. So let's do that. This.user should now contain the avatar, but this should be automatically added in the backend as well. So we can make a model function for this. Inside the user model, we can say def get avatar self return, then the URL plus self dot avatar dot URL. If self dot avatar, we need to check if you actually have this. If not, it can just return an empty string. Now we just need to update the serializer to use this instead. I think that should work. There are no errors. Refresh. No errors, no errors. Perfect. So in the profile view, we can take away this. Since we have access to everything there, if I now scroll up, instead of using this now, let me just take it away first, so we see that it's gone. And then we can say user.avatar, get avatar instead, add the colon there so that we can use values in there. Now this, if I inspect it, you should see that this is loaded from the backend instead. Nice. So we should do the same thing here. Let me just copy this and find out where we do this. Per avatar, not there. Feed view.view, that's a component. Feed item.view, I mean. Then I replace this like that. Save, refresh. Okay, there is something wrong. Cannot read properties of undefined reading get avatar. But that user does not exist, so here we say post.createdby.getAvatar instead. Refresh, and then that was loaded. Let me just see everywhere else that we used this. Not the template, that's not necessary to change, but app.view. Here, okay, I need to find out how to store this in the user store as well. The comments, there we have it. So here it's comment dot created by dot get avatar. People you may know, this is not fixed yet, so they can just be like it is. But in here we need to fix it. So first here we access the user by saying yes, move this into here as well. And then we say user.getAvatar. Oops, it was a little bit doubled. Copy and save. We have 2 more instances in here. And then here it's message.createdBy, and the same thing down here. Message.createdBy.getAvatar. In the friends, this should be the user. So that's correct already, user.getAvatar, but there are more instances. Here it's friendship request.createdBy, and also down here for the friend itself, but here we call it user, so that should be okay. And then on the search we also call the user object user. So then it's only people you may know and your own profile. So let me just test this is working. Those 2 users doesn't have an image, that's okay. But I need to fix the user store. So user.js, we need 1 more field here. Let's edit up here, avatar, default this to null. And we can copy one of these, avatar, avatar. And then set the token, it's not correct. This can be avatar set to null. That should actually be the same for these values, only this should have false. We can then empty the local storage as well, user.avatar. Set user info, avatar, avatar, and store it in the browser, avatar, avatar. Then this is the URL for the avatar, not the avatar itself. So now that that is done, we can update it here and say :src user store.user.avatar and save. So if I refresh, the image is gone. So let me try to log out. If I just find my user, I can't click it any here longer there. Log out. If I now log in again, johndoe@gmail.com, then I'm logged in, but there is something wrong. User info doesn't contain the avatar. Okay, so this is probably in the api.py in the account app, and it's the field we get up here, avatar request.user.avatar.url, or just .getAvatar. So let's try again. Go into my profile, log out, log in, johndoe@gmail.com. Log in one more time, it's not working. Okay, but is the URL setting missing parameter ID? Okay, I got an error in the back end. Okay, object of type method is not serializable. If I call it like that, maybe. Log in, yes, but still didn't get the avatar correct. But I have it there now at least. So set user info. This looks to be okay. And when I console log that, then it is missing there. Store object, temp1.name, there it is, temp1.avatar, that's also there. So I have it. Instance.update is not a function. But where the fuck does that come from? Okay, when I refreshed, it was there. The size looks horrible, so I need to fix that. App.view, w12 maybe. Yes. Okay, so now we have that image there as well for the avatar. So if I now say pravatar, it's not used anywhere else but here. Let me just try to add one more image for one of the other users. Okay, let me save this. And then if I try to go into one of the other users I have, oops, that didn't work. I need to fix the error messages here soon. There, I was logged in. And if I then go to my own profile, edit profile, choose image, download, save changes, then I have image there. This is not set automatically. Okay. So that's a task for next time. I will set it up here. Set avatar in store when adding, changing avatar, fix error messages in login, sign up. So that's something we will do in the next part. I just want to set this like that. I can save this and I can save this because now this is working. So now we have avatars as well. So in the next part we will continue doing this, and I will find one of these to do as well. And that was it for this part. Hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please hit like below. If you have any questions about today's code, feel free to leave a comment below and I will answer as soon as I can. See you in the next video.